got some good news and I got some bad news for all my Fire Emblem homies. Well, we finally know what direction Fire Emblem wants to take. For better or worse, Intelligent Systems has decided to pursue what Three Houses stood for, as opposed to what Engage stood for. Boo-hoo, bitch, your game sold like shit. Not only are they doing the Three Houses thing, but they're also creating another story in some connected world. Evidence here. However, I strongly doubt this takes place on the continent of Fodlan due to there being little to no cultural artifacts from Fodlan. The settings seem to be inspired from Greece rather than shithole 1500s Europe, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it's soft confirmed that the game takes place after the events of Three Houses. I know this is a bit of debate, so I had to come in with a video to tell you guys the facts, okay? The presence of trade and the presence of the hero's relic that Alucard wields. Those are the two main reasons that we can tell that this is a sequel. The presence of the relic sets the game after the War of Heroes. Let's get a nice timeline drawn out right here. That much is certain. So that already takes out this happened before, you know, the War of Heroes, before Rhea's rule.
Objection!
It all comes down to the actual relic that he is wielding. Yes, it's a hero's relic, but it has the Lamine crest. Where is the Lamine crest during this time period? What is it? It's in the Rafal gem. So it seemed that someone took out the Lamine crest stone from the Rafal gem and put it in this sword. We know the Rafal gem is the original relic because of the fight that we have in Golden Deer. Ha, see, that did come in handy. It wasn't a useless route after all. You see Lamine is a Grimoire, and she's wielding Dark Rafal Gem in her inventory. Logic dictates that the weapon was not changed to Answerer and back to Rafal Gem for Three Houses. It was just always the Rafal Gem.
Ah, but Nicole, if there are multiple crest stones, then that means there doesn't have to be convoluted nonsense. Answerer and Dark Rafal Gem could have existed at the same time. But there's really no evidence for that. People will look at Three Hopes, where you had additional heroes relics that really spawned out of nowhere, and they were associated with the Lamine crest and Crest of Charon. Three Hopes is an alternate universe, and then additionally, it's 3 retcons, let's be honest. You want me to know, if you want a video on why I call it 3 retcons, I'll let you know, but it's 3 retcons. That was obviously just for gameplay reasons. It would have shown up in Three Houses, but instead of Three Houses, they had sacred weapons, which weren't as cool as the heroes relics, but they fulfilled a same kind of role, like being like personalized weapons for certain characters. I think it was a very deliberate choice to include sacred weapons so that everyone can kind of get a cool weapon. And then 3 retcons is like, oh my lord, this beautiful lolly goddess needs her own tome! Her own tome! Jolly good show! And Mercedes too, I guess. Let's be honest, that's exactly what happens. 3 retcons is 3 retcons. We don't take stuff from Three Hopes lightly. Like, it retconned the tragedy of Dusker. It did so much crazy stuff, and I just feel like saying, oh, but there's crest stones and Three Hopes. It's like, come on guys, let's be honest. Let's ignore Three Hopes. Let's be good faith here and ignore Three Hopes. We know they were just retconning everything, and the original continuity from Three Houses is that there's 1 crest stone per dragon, because otherwise it definitely would have shown up in Three Houses at some point. Instead, they gave the character sacred weapons so that there could be multiple weapons associated with 1 crest. That's very important. You have to like keep in mind what Three Houses originally did. They would have just made multiple crest stones. They would have made multiple crest weapons if that was what they wanted to do, but they didn't. The presence of the Auburn crest shows that it had to happen after the events of Three Houses,
as it is very heavily implied that Aubin only gave his crest to Yuri.
You always cursed the blood that flowed through you. But in the end, it saved that child's life. It brings me great relief to know that you found salvation in your last moments. Oban, my friend. Be at peace.
However, this little black kid has it. Yuri had some kids or gave his blood to someone entirely different from him, and then they passed down the Aubin crest. If we assume this character is a direct descendant of Yuri, the Tyrone genes beat the fuck out of his, making this take place many generations after Three Houses. Or this might actually be Yuri's son. Listen, we know from Violet and Yuri's endings that Yuri has an extended lifespan and could easily be 1,000 years old.
Which means I might live to be ridiculously old, just like the 10 elites, right?
He could easily live to be 1,000. So he could actually still be alive for whenever this game takes place, whether it be 50, 100, or 500 years. And what is Kai saying in the trailer?
I only want to fight so I can save my father's life.
He wants to save his dad. He got the purple hair of Yuri too. Yuri did not get with Violet. He literally left Fodlan to mate with a black woman. And this is his light-skinned offspring. It sounds ridiculous now, but I guarantee you I'm right. We have our first swirler FE Lord, Yuri. Anyway, now let's get into the presence of trade between this region and Fodlan. The number 2 reason. You can tell the trade is up and running because someone from the continent of Fodlan, Alucard, even heard news of the tournament in the first place. You can tell he is arriving at the tournament by a boat, so in order for him to even come, you need those ocean trade routes which never existed in Three Houses. Without functioning trade routes, he wouldn't even heard of the damn tournament. And you know who hated trade routes and content with outside regions? Rhea. So Rhea is dead when this game takes place, okay? That is confirmed just because of the fact that this nigga is in the little boat that could. Also, can we talk about how this is definitely not this man's ship at all? He probably, I am the captain now, this poor man. For someone of this status, bro, this is mad weird for him to be on a rinky-dinky ship. He hitching a ride and you know he ain't paid this man. Everyone's thirsting over the Xander clone, you guys thirsting for an actual bum. Can't even pay for his ferry fare. They do this for the new Xander clone. When the Afro Queen is right there.
Been excommunicated from the African community. Okay, Bunny Hopper?
If you're not for Theodore Nation, you're against us. This thread thing goes back to the presence of the Crest of Aubin in Noah and these other regions wholly unrelated to Fodlan. If we take it back logically, assuming that each crest is unique to the original Nabatean, these characters had to have gotten the blood from the continent of Fodlan. And we know that since there's a crest weapon for Aubin's crest, that Nabatean definitely got murked in Fodlan. So again, if the Nabatean did not go to Africa themselves, how did the blood get into Africa? Easy, you need trade outside the region so that Yuri's descendants or Yuri himself can go to the new continents and produce Kai. Same for the Crest of Noah. It seems to have deep cultural significance for this character because she's literally wearing it on her drip. How would this outside culture have learned about crests if not for trade routes and the transfer of knowledge and the transfer of sperm? Okay, there are still a shit ton of crests everywhere, and this information is significance is not something that gets carried over a few stray travelers who manage to get below Rhea's radar. This is cultural exchange at its most obvious. Say what you want about Rhea, but she had the continent on lock. And they were like, yes, mother. And she didn't even have the power to control them. Rhea's hockey was just too strong. Rhea is an authoritarian at heart who controlled the continent by restricting the free flow of trade and information. Without the free flow of information, Alucard doesn't learn about the tournament, and Kai does not get his crest. I don't really see how any of this can be explained without lots of time passing and lots of cultural exchange that Rhea was vehemently against. Or the game could be taking place in a parallel universe where Lamine Relic was always this weapon and the Abed and Noah Crest have different histories, but that's a little bit of a cop-out. But we are... So, okay. This is also something I think is good for people who are making theories. You shouldn't assume the game is going to be poorly written, right? So Three Houses made this big stink about how Rhea was this evil dictator woman.
The leaders of the church have misused its creed to fulfill their true desire, to rule the world.
Controlled everything and control everyone's lives. So we can't have like thousands of niggas leading the continent. That's the only way you can explain the thing. It's the back and forth, because think about it, y'all. Like, do you think people in North Korea learning anything about what's going on in the outside world because they don't have the free flow of information? That's how it kind of was in Fodlan. Like, nobody really knew what was going on in the outside world, so you're not gonna learn about this tournament. That's what I mean by the free flow of information. To bring it to a more real world example, so we have to like assume that the game is gonna be well written. We can't assume it's gonna be shitly written and this is happening during Rhea's rule, but thousands of people can just go below Rhea's radar, and we made this big stink about how much power she has in the first game. So I'm trying to be positive here. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're not dropping that Rhea was a dictator. Not really a dictator, but an autocrat, rather. Very stern autocrat who the stuff had to go her way. That's what Three Houses trying to say before. So I'm gonna assume they're not retconning that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna assume the game is well written.
You know, this was just like a thought piece. I want to make a discussion about where this game takes place. I think I've cracked the code. I think even if I make some mistakes, which I definitely did because Three Houses lore is confusing, I really want to get some discussions flowing in the comments about where we think this game takes place. I want counter arguments, respectful, of course, because I do get on that ass in the comment section. I'm not one of these people that's gonna be, you know, nice to people who are mean to me. You're gonna get the back, you know. So keep it respectful. But I want to talk to y'all about where this game takes place. I want to discuss it. And I know other people want to discuss it too, so come on.
Subscribe, man!
I'm a little bit late to the party, but, you know, I had to bring in my world building expertise into this, because I love world building, I love writing myself. So, this is just some things I would, you know, look out for if I were the one making this game. Like, you know, stuff about trade and stuff about cultural mixing. So, yeah. If you like me, subscribe. Also, watch my cuck video. It flopped for no reason. Watch it.